Well, it's December, and that means it's time to make a specifically themed video. But what theme shall that be? What happened on this fateful month that changed the world forever? A moment in history that shook the world and that nearly everyone in the world remembers to this day. That's it! Pearl Harbor! Yep, December marks the date that America joined World War II and saved the world. No, shut up. I will shoot myself in the sternum before I make a Vlogs Brothers reference. I thought I could help remember this date by talking about a World War II film that supports the Axis. Okay, there's no real media like that exists. I mean, Mein Kampf, I guess, but that doesn't count. That was made by the creator of it. There are a large amount of movies that are about the Germans, but there's no real stories out there that support Nazi ideology outside of propaganda. The point is that there are a lot of films about the Axis, but not in the way you think. However, what's surprising is the lack of World War II films from the Japanese side. Because Japan in World War II was, the second most important thing in the war, and today it's probably the second largest outsource of media in the world. You would think that they would make more media about them. I mean, yeah, they were kind of the bad guy, but as we established, there's a lot you can do with a story like that. You don't have to support the ideology. I mean, yeah, there are some live action films, but those are mainly art films. I'm talking about anime. There are some pretty well-known ones like Grave, Wind, others that aren't Ghibli. Whatever. For this video, I think I found a World War II anime that not too many people have heard of. Cockpit. A 3-episode OVA series about World War II based off a manga by the one and only Leiji Matsumoto, famous for making long stretch stories and even longer characters. No, seriously, in a time of Fist of the North Star lookalikes, he was the one famous for slim character designs. Anyway, he has pretty good ideas, but only when stretched to oblivion. Hell, Space Yamato is one of the longest anime movies out there. So how the hell is a 3-episode OVA gonna work? Well, let's find out. The 3 episodes are different war stories about the Axis, so let's dive into the first one. It's about a German fighter pilot who looks nothing like Captain Herlock. He was disgraced and ridiculed for running away from a firefight with the English Spitfire somewhere over England.
How is it that he survived when the rest of his squadron went down?
Is it not obvious he's a coward? His life's too precious to sacrifice for his country.
Even for his disgraced action, he's giving redemption by one of the most stereotypical Nazis I've ever seen, and is given the mission to escort a plane carrying an A-bomb. Wait a minute, hold on. If they were fighting over England, that must mean they're in the beginning of the war, but the Nazis abandoned the A-bomb by the end of the war, so when the hell are they? Along board the mission is his mentor, who's also the creator of the bomb. Wait, why is he coming along? What, was Oppenheimer on the Enola Gay? Also with him is her daughter, who looks nothing like Mattel. Come to think of it, he used the same character designs for the Daft Punk movie. What, does he just forever give tribute to his other works, or is he just lazy? Anyway, they've been childhood friends for the longest time, and they both love each other, but they haven't learned to love the bomb. I'm not sorry. She wishes the thing would just be destroyed, and yeah, you can kind of see where it goes from here. He has this internal struggle on whether or not he should let the British destroy or save his girlfriend. Come to think of it, why was she on it as well? And wait, shouldn't shooting it down cause it to blow up in the end? Oh well. This OVA really tries to push for a character-driven story, and yeah, I guess we do get a decent bit of character development, like how they feel for each other, how he feels currently through eternal monologues, and how he feels about war and whatnot. The story does have an anti-war message saying that he doesn't like what he has to do.
Father agreed with you. It was unthinkable. He said it was the most destructive force ever developed, and if someone were to use it on human beings, they would be remembered as the worst mass murderers in mankind's history.
This kind of feels like Japan is saying, fuck you, America. The problem is, most of these are done through info dumps and really unnecessary monologues that almost kind of ruin the animation, which is really the best part about this whole episode. The dark shading, the character designs, even if they are unoriginal, and especially the dogfights. They're just really amazing, and really the only reason I would recommend to watch this one. But it's still not enough to distract you from the plot holes or the shoddy dialogue. If you like good animation and dogfights, then check this one out. Otherwise, just skip it. The second one is called Sonic Boom Squadron. It's about a squad of G4Ms carrying an Oka, a kamikaze attack plane. But during the first launch, the plane goes down and the suicide bomber who was supposed to go in it is the only survivor, ironically. He later feels guilty for not only the plan failing, but for him being the only survivor. But he meets up with his new crew that will take him out there in the morning. Later outside the base, a young woman is heard playing a song.
How beautiful. She must be playing a tune for the man who's going to pilot the Oka.
What made you think that? Also, the American side, we get some development from them too. Keyword, some. I'll get to that later, but it ends up with him successfully destroying a US battleship, but just before the ship goes down, a picture of the girl from before is seen. Okay, I can only suspend my disbelief so much. How the fuck did that survive the explosion, and how the hell did it get into the main interior of the ship? But it doesn't stop there, as at the very last minute before the ship sinks, it's revealed that Enola Gay was dropped. Yep, that's the kicker to all this. His actions were for nothing and everyone dies. This one isn't too bad, unlike the first one that had too many plot holes for saving. This one has some pretty good ideas, and almost all the problems could be fixed if they just made it a bit longer. I'm not saying movie length, but more than 30 minutes. The story is simple and actually pretty cool. It's the struggles of a kamikaze pilot. That sounds awesome, you could do a lot with that. The problem is that we just don't have a lot of time. If we had just a wee bit time to talk about the main characters and his relationship with his supposed girlfriend, or hell, even the Americans, that would be pretty cool. But sadly, it's an OVA, so it does have a sort of rushed out feeling to it. I mean, I understand why the time limit had to be 30 minutes, so they didn't have that much freedom on it, especially with the art style. Oh god, why does Lenji think this is a good art style? It is not. I mean, I know they're side characters, so they don't matter that much, but it's just dumb. This hurts. In the end, the story isn't bad, it's just not well written. It needs some work, but hey, what can you do? The third and last one is called Night of the Iron Dragon, which I'm just going to say right now is probably the best one. It has some problems, but in the end it's really good. The plot is about two privates in the Pacific War, one being older and more drunk and the younger being more determined. The young boy drives out on a motorcycle to their Air Force base to warn them of a raid. The old man says it's no use because by the time they get there, they just already have arrived. But the young boy doesn't care and wants to fulfill his duty. They eventually both agree, and the rest is character development. This is what the others OVAs were trying to be. A simple plot and the rest being about the characters. And in here, it's done well. These characters are well written. They each have good amount of time and backstory given to both of them. And the art style is... I think it's the worst, but then again it's also the last. Don't get me wrong, it's tolerable, but that's not saying much. But hey, the story they got right, unlike the last one. Come to think of it, this is a series where the art style gets worse, but the story gets better. The first art style is great, but terrible story. The second, pretty okay art style and pretty okay story. But the last one, not so good art, but really good story. Overall, I guess I would recommend just to watch the last one, since it is the best, or hell, since they're in increasing order, I guess you could just knock them all out in an hour and a half or something like I did. In the end, the show isn't really that bad. They all have some potential to them, and hell, it's a World War II anime that's serious. I think that more or less calls for some attention somewhere. But hey, enjoy your World War II holiday with your family and friends. Maybe this might be a thing in the future, who knows. Have some happy holidays. Man, a World War II holiday just sounds depressing. Wonder what else we could celebrate.
A large explosive was packed into the nose of the aircraft. Even though these were guided bombs, they weren't called smart. The Allies nicknamed the suicide rockets Baka bombs.